right, hey guys, Kid here, Burn One, Shadowverse Evolve channel as always. We're back on the grind here with Swordcraft for Flame of Leviathan. For a second, I forgot the name of the booster. I'm joined once again with good, what is it, friend of the, I don't know, YouTube channel, Prussia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Want to say hi, man?
Howdy.
Yeah. And like we said before, there was a chance that Dean will not be in the next ones, and unfortunately, Dean is too busy getting ready to go to Japan in a day or two, and he's just unavailable today. So we went ahead and invited another friend of our group. I guess you would just be named Ollie, or I don't know what you go by.
Ollie's fine.
Yeah. I guess since this is the first time you hear it, I guess Ollie is a longtime card game player that we've known and teamed up with in prior games for Bushro games, mostly Weiss, I believe. And you've topped a few times in Weiss as well, right? I know for a fact you got top 4 at Atlanta, but I think you've won some team events also.
Yeah, I've top 8'd Chicago 4 in trios. I've won Houston in trios with my team. So yeah, I mean, I've done okay.
Gamer alert.
True gamer alert. Ollie has the biggest cat I've ever seen also in my entire life, just so everyone knows.
It's very large.
It is a huge cat. All right, so first things first though is, as always, we are blessed with a great Shadowverse Evolve Discord community and everything, and they're the ones who provided these translations here. I actually have some names and stuff to go along with this because one of the people, Nova Starlight, reached out to me. So shout out to them because they were letting me know that actually I've been using an older version, or not an older version, I should say. They've updated it, a different spreadsheet for the game with the English terminology that is used instead of the Japanese terminology, because there's some minor differences. So we're gonna, from moving forward, we're gonna be using the one with the English traded stuff. So like, for example, on this first card here, Cinderella, you'll notice instead of fairy tale it says fable. I believe in English that is what they're going by.
Yeah.
All right, and then the 4 people that work on this, I want to give them shout outs. The first one is Nova Starlight, who reached out to me to send me this information and stuff. The next one is, I'm going to script these names, I'm so sorry. Bebek Pecking, I believe. Litnum. And then the last one is I don't know which name to use, so I'm just going to say both. Doraemon 5370, commonly known as Local Barbarous. Oh my god, this character from the digital game, Barbarous.
Right?
Yeah, Barbarous Simp on Discord. Oh my god, I don't know why I have so much trouble with her name.
Digital faker.
Dude, I am a digital faker. All right, with that being said, shout outs to all of them. Thank you so much for curating this and putting this together. It makes us content creators' lives easier, and I'm sure the community loves it. So we're going to get right into Sword here. I'm sorry this introduction took so long. First thing first is Cinderella here. It's obviously Swordcraft flower 5/5 for 7. It has Storm and Strike. Remove a Fable counter from this card. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a follower that costs 5 or less play points from among them onto your field. Put the rest into your cemetery. Then Fanfare. If there's another Fable follower on your field, put a Fable counter on this card. Oh my god, this card's so good.
Huh?
Listen, I like this card, but it's probably not played that much because it's.
I was gonna say it's a bit expensive.
Yeah, that's my main issue. Is 7 is way too late nowadays.
Yeah,
for a card that doesn't just say win the game.
I feel like I'd like why wouldn't you just play like what's his name? Leonidas.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Leo's really good. I have this thing where I like pulling the slot machine, man. Right? If I can RNG to bullshit, I love to gamble, man.
I got the deck for you, and it's in the same freaking class.
I know, right?
It's coming up here.
I like this card. It's probably like doable. I could see some lists probably running it as like a 2 of or something if they really wanted to. I could see that, though. It is probably really slow, right? Like you guys are saying. To get the Fable counter, you need to already have a board presented, so you need to make sure your board lives cross turn. And I think with the stuff in this set, along with how the deck should be playing out, stuff probably won't live that often.
Yeah, it also depends on if there's like other like Fable cards you would want to play in Sword, which I don't know if there are or not.
Yeah,
I think for me the issue with this card is it's pretty unrealistic to assume she's going to come down with a Fable counter on her, so you're gonna have to generate a Fable counter in some other way. Which there is another card that does that, but we'll see in a second. The other factor is I feel like her stats are just way too low for a 7 mana. I feel like this should be baseline Gilgamesh 7 mana 6/6, and then you get the extra effect if you're playing on trait, basically. But you're
Yeah.
basically punished a little bit, one stat for playing on this trait that is you have to build a deck around. Like if you want to build a Fable deck, we have no other previous Fable cards, so it's going to basically be a whole new sword deck, And
Mhm.
also, I just don't think the effect is very good. It's very similar to a card from the starter deck, Skill Fade,
Mhm.
Skull Fade, and that card is terrible. And I think this card is not as bad because it at least has Storm. Um, I just I don't think this card's good at all. One aspect that I never noticed is it puts all the cards into your cemetery, not back on the bottom. So slight in the future, there are decks, sword decks that are like, hey, if you have 10 things in the graveyard, do this. So that's kind of actually a
Yeah,
little
you,
bit sick.
you
But
could play that new sword card that got revealed, where it's like if you run out of cards, you win the game.
Spartacus.
Yeah, Spartacus.
Oh,
yeah,
boy,
yeah.
Sparty.
Easy Spartacus
I'm playing
support.
that deck no matter what it takes. Anyway, I think like the worst part, I think it's either the stat line or the timing of this card. I think you're absolutely on the money for that when it comes to this card. Like maybe if this was a 6-drop 5/5, it would be infinitely better by a lot. And then I forgot there is that whole other archetype in sword that actually is just straight up better, like pulling the slot machine lever. One thing to note though, it does have princess trait, so I mean, I technically Gunner made Sarah can search princess. So, but I don't think that card is too relevant in this next set anyway. But that's just something to keep in mind.
You know what Saria also searches is Alice.
Yeah, it does.
Wait,
This
does it
Oh, it
area-
really?
does.
That's so
Does
funny.
Alice have princess trait? I forgot.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
'Cause I got
Okay.
into an argument a lot way before. Oh no, she doesn't.
She
Wait,
doesn't?
what?
Okay, we're good. We're good. All right.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll have
I was
to
gonna
talk
say
about
I'm gonna
that
deny
offline.
your reality and substitute it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, the next card here, just so people know, this is the Japanese alternate art for the VTuber. We're getting the one in Rune for English, so this art version of Cinderella is not coming to English. All right, next card here, I guess. Pressure.
Yeah, Valiant Fencer, 3 mana 2/2, commander and heroic trait. That's a new trait which will be important in some of these upcoming cards. Evolve for 1. Evolve can only evolve if you have 2 or less cards in your hand. So that's a very interesting sort of restriction. But on Fanfare, when he just comes down, he gets to tutor a heroic card from your deck, which is a pretty strong effect. He is slightly lower statted on curve though, but his evolve effect is really, really, really silly. He selects a heroic follower on your field that can evolve, and he evolves that follower. And it doesn't work like in digital where they don't use the effects of the evolve card. Like when you evolve something, it uses their evolve effect. So this card is really, really insane if you empty your hand.
Dang, yeah, this card is really
Yeah.
good. What's the restriction? Is it? I'm sorry. How much did it cost to Evo again?
One. It costs
One.
to evolve.
Oh, but yeah, you need 2 or less cards in hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like this, it's like an aggro deck, so like you're gonna
Yeah.
want to try and dump your hand as quickly
As
you can
as much as
anyways.
possible, yeah. Because like a 3-drop 2/2 seems so bad, but with the effect, this effect seems really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to note is that he, gives you back. Actually, can you like fail to find and not tutor anything? Because I was just gonna say like you have to. You're gonna be like hand neutral or whatever. So like
A
just
lot
kind
of
of have.
so I haven't had to read like that type of rolling in this game, but most card
Yeah.
games, because you're searching a closed area, you can't be like, I can't find it, and then be like, here, my opponent can check to see if I have no targets.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you
true.
could.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
think you could just choose to fail to find. In this game,
Yeah,
that was my
okay.
assumption. So yeah.
So realistically, only 3 cards in hand. So for example, if you're going first, you go turn 1, you have 4 cards in hand. You go 1 drop, you go back to 4, 2 drop. Yeah, so if you have like 2 1-drops on 2, then on like turn 3 you can play this fail to find Evo, and something like that. That's a little cheesy, but
Yeah, I mean,
There's
it's
like
go ahead.
I was gonna say there's like another card in this deck that like this synergizes super well with.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that line of play though is a cheeky line. Even though it's kind of cheeky, you gotta always consider that as a possible line to find lethal or do whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right, next card here, Ollie.
All right, we got Maisie Red Riding Hood. She is a 2-drop 1/1 assassin fable. If there's another Fable follower on your field, you can put a Fable counter on this card as a fanfare, and then activate for 1 play point, engage, remove a Fable counter from this card, select an enemy follower in the field, and destroy it. Wow. It's like pretty solid actually for a 2-drop.
I'm pretty whatever about this card because it's basically at best it's a 3 costs removal spell for anything that you can target, right?
Yeah, but I mean that's already under spec, right? I mean you have.
Yeah, I guess so. Then I guess the big thing is you have to already have a Fable on the board, which
like the body sucks, I guess, is like the downside.
Yeah, and so it's always
Yeah,
gonna it can get removed by like literally everything if something can attack into it because you have to engage his follower. And it seems like from my understanding and from what like Prussia told me and stuff is like the Fable like version of the deck isn't going to be as powerful as like the heroic stuff we'll be seeing coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the heroic stuff is better, but like this like not like it's like a solid card in a vacuum, I think.
I think this I actually really like this card in the set 3 only format. I think this is a really good hard removal, but I think in constructed this card's never played, especially in Sword. Way too underset. Does not do anything Sword wants to do, and the restriction or the uh like you have to have another Fable thing on the field to do something. I don't.
I think Sword's like, so if you're not going to play the heroic stuff, I think Sword's so hard up for like just easy removal that I would consider playing this if I could fit more Fabled.
Yeah, but would you consider this easy removal? Because you already are required to have another Fable card.
Well, yeah, I
like,
mean
in
that's
your
the like the thing, right? Like if I can realistically like include enough Fables to make this live, I don't know if but I would try it.
It's definitely like a card that I think if you go into that route, it's never like an on curve type of thing. You're never doing this on 3 or something. Well, maybe you would in some instances, but like this is probably like a late game removal that just like answers any big body that you need to get rid of, right?
Yeah.
Like you could have like a weird turn where you like play Alice and then you're able to play this and then you're able to pop something, right? But that's obviously a later turn, right?
Yeah.
I could see like the utility in that, but it's definitely like not going to be. I feel like it's not going to be really played and constructed. Probably.
I don't think so either. But I think if you, for whatever reason, if you weren't going to build heroic, I think this is like a card you could consider in like a different deck.
I will say I do like the art. All right, we'll move on to this next card here. It's a 2-drop 2/2 Emiro Spear Knight Swordcraft Officer Heroic. It evolves for 3. Strike if there's another heroic follower on your field, give this follower +1/+1. Oh no, I already like that part of the effect. The evolve form here, it becomes a 3/3. Same strike. But on evolve, select a heroic card in your cemetery and play it for 0 play points. Oh wow, you just get a summon recycle another heroic card. It's probably pretty decent if you're like in that game plan of the original card we saw where you're just dumping your hand. You need to be able to like pull bodies out on the board. And I think we haven't seen it yet, but I'm pretty sure there's a heroic follower, right, that has Storm or something.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like if it comes into play other than your hand or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, and there's some stuff like that. So this card probably is going to be very integral into that. And then once again, like the strike effect makes it so like this is a card you can't just like ignore for multiple turns. It has to be answered at some point, otherwise it will snowball, right? So
and you can cheat the Evo with the last card.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh.
Yeah, this is definitely
what a silly deck already. Yeah.
This is a really I don't know. This whole archetype is to be really problematic, but this card is really just kind of over too, because it's already like just an insane 2-drop, just by itself. Just if you're
Mhm.
playing on curve, it just becomes a Latham if you untap with it. And then its evolve effect is really good in the mid game, which is late game because you're playing aggro basically,
Yeah.
and it's really easy to just go, oh well, I guess I just win because I get a storm thing again, and I have this really hard to kill thing. It's just this card's really insane. This is a really really insane card, and heroic keeps getting insane cards as we see.
Oh my
And,
god, yeah. I'm
really
I'm already hyped for this this slot machine deck I'm going to be playing for trios.
You're not gonna be hyped with something.
Listen. If I low roll, I just low roll and be like, yeah, my opponent high rolled me. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my deck's fault ever. All right. Is there anything else you guys want to add, or we can move on to the next card?
Nah, pretty straightforward.
All right, next card here.
All right, I get the Paragraph card. Castle in the Sky. 2-mana Amulet for a sword. Fanfare. Search your deck for a follower with Storm, reveal it, and add it to your hand. Activate. Engage this card. Put this card into your cemetery. Select a follower on your field with Storm and give it +1 attack. Activate for 10 play points. Engage this card. Put it into your cemetery. You may put any number of followers with Storm into your hand, from your hand onto the field. Give them each +2/+2. This is the new. All the random sword decks are gonna throw this in as a one-up because I can search my one-up Cinderella that I play or something. I don't know. This card's so terrible.
It's better than the digital version.
Is it?
What was the digital version?
It was literally just last words, like give all your followers +1/+1.
Well, yeah, but like you
And like made shit
built
cheaper, I
around,
think.
yeah. Because you would make sure that when it popped, you had like a huge board. Yeah, because it's countdown 15, and then whenever you play something, it loses a countdown, and then last words it gave everything.
Yeah,
plus a
this
+1 restore.
just like dumps your hand at least. I mean, I still don't think it's good, but
Well, you have to spend 10 mana. Like in the original, if it worked like the original, you could just like have it as like a secondary win condition where you like have it and then you're playing your normal gameplay, and then once you hit 15, you just win the game because you just build it. You do floral fence or Evo, right?
Yeah. This is a very cute card. I wish it was good because it'd be really funny to lose to this card or play this card, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be very powerful or anything like that. Especially because it's like the 10 PP range is like most games. Like in this,
I should be winning the game by that point.
Yeah, you should have already like basically won the game, or the game should have been over already. Because I think most decks usually at this point in the meta they're looking to win by turn 6 to 7 is like, or like if at that point they're going to win the game in like a turn or two anyway. So like getting to 10 play points is like almost never possible. I don't want to say never because it does happen depending on like what the matchup is. It's just it seems very unrealistic to ever get the 10 play point thing off. So like the only good thing is like the fanfare search possibly, and then you can occasionally get a +1 on your storm follower that you play after this. So like maybe you could castle on 2 if you're actually playing this card, like castle on 2, search novice trooper, and then play novice trooper on 3, crack this, so now you're swinging for 4. Like doesn't seem great.
You skipped your Latham turn. I don't know, that seems
terrible. It's just
I'm definitely gonna play against this card at trios and lose.
Oh, 100.
Oh, 1,000,000%. We'll say this card.
Someone sit down. He'll have 47 cards in his deck, and he'll say, "Well, I have like 10 tutors," and then they'll still beat you. One thing to keep in mind is, I think this is the type of card to always keep in mind if there's ever a storm card that comes out that's like sort of a alternate win condition. So not that you want this, you want it because it's storm, but you want it because it does something else. Because if you just want a card with storm, you just play the Kitasan Black
now,
card.
Does this card work with cards that like gain storm as an effect, or does it have to inherently?
No, it has to inherently have it. But I guess one line of play you could consider with this card is what is it? On turn 8 you could potentially play this, search out Albert, and then with the Evo Albert, pop it, give it +1, and then it does
for 8.
Yeah. On
turn
8
baby,
busted.
Insane. And it rotted in your hand for 8 turns.
Listen. I didn't say it was good, man. I'm just saying that is a possible line. That's probably like the best line I could think of with this card right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's just move on from this card. Here's the alt art that we're not getting in English, sadly. Otherwise, I would be buying those. Next card here.
Yeah, she's a castle.
Yeah.
She is the castle.
True. All right, Ollie? Or is this...
it's Ollie. Yeah, this is me. Guys, Young Ogre Hunter Momo, so 4-drop 5/5, Officer Fable. She has a sail, and follower strike. If the enemy follower has 5 or less defense, draw a card, then discard a card. Fanfare, if there's another Fable on your field, give this follower a rush.
4-drop 5/5. So I like... Okay, so... Ollie, what do you think? I guess I should give you because you read the card. You have anything?
It seems kind of underwhelming, to be honest.
So I'm like in Sword. I played a bunch of Sword in the set 1 meta and a little bit in set 2 until I decided that Sword was not good enough. But I always like Sword cards that have a sail because I always feel like Sword has this weird issue sometimes where like the only way you can really interact with the opponent's followers is if like you can attack into them. So when your opponent leaves like everything unengaged because they're setting up lethal, you're just kind of like, well, I can't do anything, which is kind of rough. I think this follower, like, I think it looks okay. But it's once again, you're kind of like trapped into this thing where to make this card worthwhile, you have to have another follower on the board already. So I don't know if this is ever really going down on curve, right? But like even playing this on curve is like pretty all right. On turn, like say if you went second and you like 4 fencered and then play this on 4 and you do have another like Fable follower on board, then you can like sell in need be. But it's still like a relatively okay statted follower, I think, outside of not getting rush.
Yeah, so this is basically baseline the dragon token, which is pretty good. That seems to be like the baseline 4-drop. And I like that it has extra effects. Like you said, Assail is a really rare keyword for Sword, and it's a really important keyword for Sword, a class that does not have a lot of good removal. I just think it's just hard to assume you're going to have another Fable card on the field, especially when the only other Sword one we've seen so far has like 1 health, and the other ones are not that good anyway. And also, this is, of course, the turn you probably, unless you're going second, you probably want to be playing Alice if you're playing a Fable deck.
Yeah.
And if not, and if you are going first, you want to be playing Floral, Or sorry, I mixed that up. You guys know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
Also, I think like Teo would also be like probably
Teo,
a better use of a slot that this fulfills.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I think that's kind of it, right, for this card?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
All right, next card here.
All right. This...
Mock? Are you going to do it, or am I?
Wait, were you reading?
I think it was...
You got it.
All right, Mock Knight. 3-drop, 3/3. Evolve for 1. Fanfare. If this follower was put onto your field from anywhere other than your hand, give it Storm. And then the evil version of it is on Evolve, select an enemy follower on the field and deal 2 damage to it. If there are 2 or more heroic cards in your cemetery, deal 4 damage instead. This card is insane. That's all I gotta say, right? Like we've already seen some of the other cards.
Dragon Warrior.
It's just better Dragon Warrior, basically.
Did you say Dragon Warrior? We need to start the psyop that this card is bad. We need to start this immediately.
Well, people already think Dragon Warrior is bad.
So obviously this is going to be in a really aggressive deck. I think we've already kind of hinted at heroic is going to be just an aggro archetype that's going to be, a little bit of RNG and like accidentally getting Mock Knight on the board from any other area, whether it be cemetery or from the deck, because there are other cards that will pull cards from the deck out onto the field. And so getting this like random 3/3 Storm follower, which is already good because a Novice Trooper is already a good card. I think Storm is probably one of the most broken mechanics in the game on like, just like keywords as far as it goes, because everyone has to always play around dumb Storm and like instant like 7 damage at a hand, like if you imagine like Forte or something like that. So a card like that that will just like randomly pop off, and suddenly you have this 3/3 storm. Then if it evos, you get to clear something, and more likely than not, because you're playing an aggro deck, you will have 2 heroic followers in the cemetery like pretty early on, which means that the deal 4 damage is probably going to be like very active, like probably by turn 4 or 5, right? I don't feel like that'll ever not be active that quick, maybe even sooner.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so card is just busted. But if you don't like Dragon Warrior, the card sucks. Don't play Sword, guys.
Don't play this card. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm down to not play against this deck. Don't play Sword.
Yeah. Only I will be playing it at all the team events.
I don't even know what to say about this card. This is just very digital-esque design card where it's like so bad and under what you want to be doing, but if you hit the nuts, if you hit the quest, you just like win the game on the spot. Like you just it's such a silly card. I don't know, man. I don't know why they said, "Yep, this is a card we want to be printing in set 3 of Shadowverse Evolve."
Yeah, it's just that powerful.
I like the aesthetic. They're like common writers.
True. All right, next card here, Pressure.
Alrighty, Kiss the Princess. If you have a princess card on your field, this card costs 1 less to play. Choose one of the following. Select a file on your field, give it +1 attack, and put a Fable counter on it. Number 2 is select up to 3 Swordcraft files in your cemetery, return them to your deck, then shuffle your deck, then draw a card. So this card lets you give Cinderella a Fable counter without there needing to be another Fable card on the field, so that's pretty nice. But it really is only good if there's a princess card, because paying 1 mana to give something +1 attack and Fable is not too good with some of the with the sword cards we've seen so far. And then the selecting up to 3 Swordcraft files in your cemetery, like I don't know if they think we're Control Haven or something, but I don't know. I don't think this is the
Control
type
sword.
of class. Yeah, super Control Sword. Yeah, we play Leonidas to like make our front guard generals, huge things instead of just hitting him in the face. But no, I think this is. It's not even that good of a card in like the Fable decks, because Sword doesn't have too many things that you need to use the Fable counters for. Like you have Red Riding Hood, but she already. Oh wait, no, is it? What's her name?
Maisie, Red Riding Hood.
Right, yeah, it is Red Riding. Okay, but she either gets it herself and she has to pay 1 anyway, so it's like you're paying extra, So I don't know.
So the way I look at this card is like this is a payoff card for playing into Fable and like having like good princess followers to work with. Because worst case scenario, like as long as you have a princess, and there's like some decent princess followers to have, is just like this is a 0 cost cycle a card basically, because it says select up to 3 Swordcraft followers, which means you can pick 0 and then just draw a card, right? And then it has the secondary effect that occasionally you can give a follower +1 and a Fable counter if needed. And I think Precious is right in the sense that this card is only really good if it costs 0. If it costs 1, the card becomes like not great at all. And I don't know about the select 3 Swordcraft followers and like shuffle them back in your deck. I don't know how often that would ever really come up. I just think the idea of like this being a 0 cost cycle a card is okay for like playing into Fable and Princess.
I mainly, if I'm gonna, the second mode is like kind of like the mode that I dig on this card.
Yeah, and it's funny too because like I don't think there's a reason to shuffle 3 cards back into your deck ever. Any followers necessarily, maybe.
Well, so you can top deck the princess that you put back into your deck.
True, but the fact that it does just straight up in most cases the assumption you're playing towards like that package is that it's a 0 cost cycle, which means like your deck is basically 3 cards less, which means it helps with consistency.
You're playing 3 upstart goblins.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess my problem is that I wish this read if you had a Fable card on your field, because like there's not that many princess cards. Like there's what the ones we have already.
Princess, Pompous, baby, let's go.
Pompous, Aurelia,
Saria. What's a princess? Was she a princess?
No, she searches princesses.
It's just
Otohime,
yeah.
And Aurelia. Well, Otohime is the strongest card in Swordcraft, so.
So it's like I don't know. I feel like it's weird that they're like, okay, you got to play princesses and you got to play fables, and it's like, what if I just don't play either and I just play the Power Rangers?
True.
I do like the Power Rangers a little bit more. The elemental heroes.
All right. So here's the alternate art that we won't be getting in English, sadly. All right.
You're being mean to people. You're
It's
showing them
it's
the stuff we're
listen,
not
listen.
getting.
It's in the spreadsheet, so we're just showing
Okay,
them.
okay,
All right,
yeah,
not my
yeah,
fault.
yeah, yeah.
Blame the 4 people I said at the beginning of the game.
Yeah,
Or
that's true.
not the
That's true.
beginning of the video. All right. Holly, right? I think.
Yeah. Rabbit ear attendant. Yeah, she's kind of cute actually. 3-drop, 3/4 fable trait. And then she just has fanfare. If there's another fable follower on your field, draw a card. Bleh.
Yeah, it seems pretty mediocre. It's I guess technically it's a card that plays towards Fable, which is if you need Fable, this is probably going to be okay. But
I mean, like it.
I
3/4 for 3 is like that's okay, but
This might be a hot take. I think this is the best Fable sword card. I think this is the
really.
the best. No. Actually, that's not true. The next, I forgot the next. I always forget
the next card is really
a Fable
good.
card.
Yeah,
I always forget that they're Fable.
yeah.
But this one is like, I mean, hey, sword does not. Sword lives at the top of its deck. I feel like as many tuners as it has. There's a lot of games where I'm like, why do I have 2 cards in my hand and I just have to live off the top of my cards? So I think
draw
this
better,
kind
dude.
Easy.
exactly,
True.
Yeah. Skill
Well,
issue.
I mean, like this is a card that pays off for playing Fable. Like, I mean, if you're gonna have a lot of Fables in your deck, you're probably already gonna play this in some number. The stat line isn't horrible. Like, but it's at the same time, it's just like, you know.
I think this is how most of the other Fable cards in this sword set should have been like, where they have a lot of health. Because all the other cards are like, hey, if you have a Fable follower on your field, do something. But it's like that doesn't happen if they're not alive,
Yeah. All right. This next card is insanely good. So 1-drop 1/2. All right, and it has Bane. That's the text. Card is insanely good. So you play this out, and suddenly anything your opponent plays just dies instantly to this. They can't, if this swings in for 1, they can't trade a fall. Like this trades up into everything because it has Bane essentially. And so like you swing in on turn 2 with this card, and now if any follower they swing into this it'll immediately die. And then if they don't want you to like trade favorably with this card, they have to use a spell to remove this card then, right? So it's almost like a magnet towards like angelic snipes and stuff. That's how I see it. The card just is really good.
Yeah.
You got anything extra you want to add?
I pretty much agree with what you just said.
Yeah,
Card's kind of insane for that reason.
Yeah, this is probably the second best 1-drop of the game.
It being only like 1 cost is also like you can just kind of like flex a sin during your turns, and then just if your opponent plays something threatening, you have an immediate answer to it.
Yeah, and sword is one of the crafts that has a lot of things that forces your opponents to engage their followers. So if this lives cross turn and you just play swordsman next turn to kill whatever the big thing they didn't engage, it's like, oh, thank you. It basically cost me 2 play points to like remove your like 8-drop. Also, which is insane, which I didn't say, is Pompous Princess. If you top deck this off of Pompous Princess, this just comes out on the board too. That's pretty insane too. Like, listen, I know you're not a Pompous Princess fan, Prussia, but this is technically a target for it, and I think with like how I've done 0 testing, right, obviously, but Pompous Princess I think in like an aggro deck is probably going to be pretty decent, but I could be completely wrong where you need so much heroic to like go that direction. But I mean, like hitting this off of Pompous Princess isn't bad either. Like on turn.
But
turn
hitting
3.
any 1-drop off Pompous Princess is insane. Like because it's the same as playing a 1-drop.
Oh yeah, but the fact that this
like,
just says like, Bane on it is insane to me. So
yeah.
All right, next card here.
Alrighty, Bladed Hedgehog. I keep forgetting this one's Fable as well. They just do all the weird, like this is not a Fable in digital. But anyway,
no, it's not even like it's way later too. I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 2 mana 1/3. Evolve for 2. Whenever an enemy follower is destroyed during your turn, give this follower +1 attack. On evolve, it deals 2 damage to an enemy follower on the field. and it has the same whenever an enemy follower is destroyed during your turn, give this follower +1 attack. They super nerfed this guy. He was a really good card.
I remember when this
He's
card came
terrible
down,
now.
you were just upset at the world.
Yeah. This card, because it didn't have the only on your turn restriction. Yeah, I don't know. I think this card's like really bad.
He's so cute, though. I want him to be good.
Go play
I mean, this
digital,
card. I think
man.
this
I
card
know.
like could potentially snowball, but like it's definitely. It's. I mean, it's a card that probably will like your opponent is probably going to want to try and answer. So it's good in that respect.
Yeah.
It does force a response.
The worst part about this card is like you said, because it's on your turn only, it forces you to like do all the trading instead of your opponent trading into you. Yeah, which is like the awkward part. So like every time you trade into your opponent, you're not getting damage in to get a +1. And like is that the trade-off you really want if something lived cross turn? Yeah. All right, next card here, Ollie.
All right, we got the Iron Rot Defender. It's a 1-drop 2/2. Officer Heroic. Fanfare, if there are 2 or more heroic cards in your cemetery, this gets 1 health and ward. So it's a 1-drop 2/3 ward. Already sounds insane.
Yeah, that's basically how I see it too. You have anything to add, Pressure?
A goblin. I love my goblins.
This
I love
is
my
a better goblin. This goblin has some mecha armor on him.
Yeah, exactly. This is a really silly. I don't know why the hero trait is the win more class. It's the win
Well,
more.
he's getting strength from his fallen comrades.
True. It's like an anime protagonist.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I think there's nothing else to add, right, guys?
Wow,
all right, this next card. Yeah, this next card is like 90% of the reason I want to play the heroic archetype because of how stupid this next card is. A heroic entry. It's a 3-drop spell. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may put a Swordcraft follower that costs 3 or less from among them onto your field. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you put a heroic follower into the field, give it +1/+1. So remember that 3-drop 3/3 that could like get storm. Now it's a 4/4 that evos becomes a 5/5 that also kills something that only has 4 health. That seems like a pretty good turn, right?
Why does it put it on the board?
I don't know. This is the worst design card in the game so far, in my opinion. I think this thing is just everything bad about digital. Like and we're playing paper and we're on the paper game. It's like, why? The only good target for this card is the storm thing. But if you hit the storm thing, you just win the game. Like if you get a 4/4 storm going first on 3, you just win the game. And if you're going second, it's a 5/5 because you get the free evo and you probably deal 2 damage or kill something.
Yeah.
Actually, as long as you played,
yeah, if you have
if they killed the goblin,
you just swing for 5.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And kill
it's
something.
like it's so stupid. I hate this card so much.
I basically agree. It's very interesting that it's just they worded as Swordcraft follower and not a heroic trait follower. Obviously this card would be infinitely it would make it worse, but it would be like more I feel like it would definitely taper off of how busted this is, because like you're still going to be playing you're going to still play things that are not heroic trait. But like randomly getting a 3 cost like novice trooper is like, okay, whatever, I would have played that anyway type of thing.
Yeah.
And then
if you only got a heroic follower, then how can they just staple that extra line of text at the end?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. They wanted they had to add the flavor somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, and then also the deck would be even more high rolling than it already is. So you like when you got the turn going second turn 3 5/5 storm, you feel like flipping the table even more because you knew it was like a wanted whatever.
Yeah.
No, I in my opinion, I just think I think this card should have just been the first line of text and nothing gets buffed because it's already heroic traded, so you want to play it so you just get a random spell in the graveyard that's heroic,
Yeah.
Because you just want things that check, and it's like, hey, it's because other decks play this after heroic's like gone because this is just a good card, like if you get a floral, that's awesome. If you get an novice trooper, that's awesome. My problem with this card is when you get the storm guy you just win the game on the spot. And it's like, what? It feels like, I don't know. It feels really
it's very snowbally. Like the high roll of this card is just really, really good. The low roll is actually really high up there already too. Like, so you're like, eh.
You can get Papa's Princess and then proceed to put more cards.
Oh my god, imagine just cascading into a bunch of stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah, you're just playing Cascade.
Yeah, from MTG. All right, well, that is the last card for Swordcraft. If you made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that. As always, thank you to everyone watching the video and like subscribing to our channel. Appreciate it a lot. I guess Pressure, got any last minute shout outs you want to give?
No, I'm good.
All right, Ollie, anything for you?
Nah, I'm good.
All right, well, guys, see you in the next video. The next one should be not Rune. What's after Rune?
Dragon.
Dragon. Oh man. All right, we'll see you in that video. Later, everyone.